The evening was heavy and orange, the kind of sky that comes before rain. Marcus Bell drove home slow, both hands on the wheel, radio low, windows down just enough to let the wind in. He had no money to waste on gas, so he drove careful. He had no time to waste on trouble, so he drove quiet. He did not know that trouble was already behind him, blue lights spinning in his mirror. Marcus Bell was 34 years old. He drove an old gray truck with a dent in the door and a purple heart sticker peeling on the back window. He worked at a warehouse from 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, loading boxes onto trucks that went to stores he could not always afford to shop in. He did not complain. He had learned a long time ago that complaining did not put food on the table. Work did. Marcus had a daughter named Alea. She was 7. She had his mother's eyes and his own quiet way of watching the world before she spoke on it. Every night Marcus came home tired, and every night Alea ran to the door before he could even close his truck, and every night, tired or not, Marcus picked her up like she weighed nothing at all. That was the whole of his world: a daughter, a truck, a job, a quiet life he had fought hard in more ways than one to hold on to. The lights came on behind him, just past the old gas station on Route 9. Marcus checked his speed. He was not speeding. He checked his lane. He was not weaving. He pulled over anyway because he knew, the way certain men in this world have to know, that being right does not always keep you safe. He put both hands on the wheel. He turned the radio off. He waited. The officer who walked up to his window had a walk Marcus recognized before he ever saw the man's face. It was the walk of someone who had already decided something before he arrived. "License and registration," the officer said. His name tag read Officer Dale RESC. He did not look at Marcus's eyes. He looked at the dent in the door, the peeling sticker, the tired gray paint. Marcus handed it over slow, careful, narrating his own hands so there would be no mistake. "I'm reaching into my glove box now, sir. Just my license." Reese took the license without a word of thanks. He looked at it, looked at Marcus, looked at the truck again. "Where you headed?" "Home, sir. My daughter's waiting." "This your truck?" "Yes, sir." Reese tapped the license against his palm. "You mind stepping out?" Marcus felt his stomach fold in on itself, quiet and cold. He had done nothing. He knew he had done nothing, but he had learned that knowing was not always enough. "Can I ask why, sir?" "You can step out of the vehicle." Marcus stepped out. The evening wind moved through his shirt. 2 cars slowed on the road behind them, faces turning to look, the way faces always turn when blue lights are spinning. That was the public wound, not the search yet, just this. Just standing on the side of the road while strangers slowed their cars to watch a man they did not know be treated like a stranger to his own life. Reese circled the truck once, slow, like a man circling something he had already decided was guilty. "You got anything illegal in here?" "No, sir." "Mind if I look?" Marcus knew the law. Marcus knew he could say no. Marcus also knew what saying no could turn into, out here alone, with the sun going down and no one but strangers slowing their cars to watch. "Go ahead, sir," Marcus said quietly. Reese smiled like he had won something already. He opened the driver door first, rifled through the glove box, threw papers onto the seat without looking at them twice. He opened the center console, pushed aside a pack of gum, a phone charger, a single photograph of a little girl in a yellow dress that fell to the floor mat and stayed there, forgotten, face down. "Y'all always got something," Reese muttered, low enough that he probably thought Marcus could not hear it. Marcus heard it anyway. He had heard it before in different towns from different mouths, always in that same low, careless voice. He moved to the truck bed next. A tarp covered a duffel bag in the corner. Reese pulled the tarp back hard, like he already knew what he was going to find, like the finding was already written before he even opened the bag. He unzipped it fast. Inside was not what Reese expected. A folded flag, triangle pressed, navy blue with white stars, the kind given to no one except family of the fallen or family of the honored. A small velvet box. Reese opened it. Inside sat a trident pin, gold and silver, an eagle gripping an anchor and a pistol, the unmistakable insignia of a Navy SEAL. Beneath that, a laminated identification card. Reese picked it up slow now, his hands moving different than they had a second before. His eyes moved across the words, Department of Defense, Pentagon access clearance. A photograph of a much younger Marcus Bell in dress blues, standing straighter than any picture Reese had ever taken of himself. Reese's mouth opened. No thing came out of it. Marcus stood by the tailgate, hands still visible, voice still calm. The way a man's voice gets calm when he has had to be calm about this exact kind of moment more times than he ever wanted to count. That's my discharge flag, sir. That's my service pin. That ID let me into rooms most people never get to stand in. I don't carry it to prove anything to anybody. I carry it because it's mine. Reese looked up. For the first time since he had walked up to that window, he looked Marcus in the eyes. Word moves fast in a small town, faster than any siren. By the time Marcus's truck pulled back onto the road that evening, 3 different phones already had video of a police car flashing its lights behind an old gray truck on Route 9. None of the videos showed what was in the duffel bag. All of them showed a black man standing with his hands up while a white officer searched his truck bed in the low orange light. The town had a way of talking before it had a way of knowing. At the diner the next morning, old men argued over coffee about what they had heard. At the barber shop, someone said the cop found nothing. Someone else said the cop found drugs. Someone else said they heard the man was a criminal from 3 counties over. Nobody said the truth yet, because nobody but Reese and Marcus knew it. That was the setback that came before the turn. The public wound had already spread wider than the truth could travel to catch up with it. Captain Rosalind Vance called Reese into her office 2 days later. She was 51 years old, 20 years on the force, a woman who did not raise her voice because she had never needed to. She set a folder on the desk between them. You want to explain this? Reese sat straighter than he wanted to. I had reasonable suspicion, Captain. The vehicle matched a description from a call the week before. Did it match the description, or did it match your gut? Reese did not answer. Vance opened the folder. Inside was a copy of Marcus Bell's service record, 2 deployments. A commendation for actions during a rescue operation that the file only described in careful, redacted language, the kind of language that told you the details mattered too much to print. A Purple Heart, an honorable discharge with distinction. This man, Vance said slowly, spent 6 years doing the kind of work most of this department would not survive 1 week of. And you had him standing on the side of Route 9 with his hands up in front of half the town's dash cams. I didn't know that when I stopped him. That's the problem, Reese. Vance closed the folder. You didn't know anything when you stopped him. You just decided. That night Marcus sat on the porch step outside his small house, Alea's laughter drifting out through the screen door where she watched cartoons with her grandmother. He held the velvet box in his hands, turned the trident pin over once, twice, the metal catching the porch light. He was not angry. He had used up his anger a long time ago in places far from here, places where anger got good men killed. What sat in his chest now was heavier than anger. It was tired of proving. Tired of the discharge flag and the trident pin having to speak for him when his own 2 words, I served, were somehow never quite enough on their own. His mother came out and sat beside him without a word. She had done this before, more times than either of them liked to count. You didn't do anything wrong, she said finally. I know that, Mama. Then why do you look like a man carrying a debt? Marcus looked at the box in his hands. Because I shouldn't have needed to open this to be treated like I belong on my own road. His mother nodded slow, the way people nod when there is nothing left to argue, only truth left to sit with. 3 days later, the town found out what was really in that duffel bag because Captain Vance made sure of it. She released a statement. She did not hide behind careful words. She said plainly that Officer Reese had stopped a decorated veteran without sufficient cause, that the search had been conducted without proper justification, and that the department owed Marcus Bell a formal apology. Reese asked to see Marcus in person. Vance allowed it on the condition that she stood present. They met at the same gas station near Route 9, the same orange evening light falling across the same tired asphalt. Reese did not lie with excuses. To his credit, when the moment came, he did not reach for them. I judged you before I knew a single true thing about you, he said. I've turned that stopover every night since it happened. There's no version of it where I come out looking like a good officer. I'm sorry, Mr. Bell." Marcus studied him a long moment. He had heard apologies before, some hollow, some heavy. This one had weight to it, the kind that costs a man something to say out loud in front of his captain. "I appreciate you saying that to my face, Mark," said, "but I need you to hear something too. I don't need you to be sorry because of what was in that bag. I need you to understand you'd have been wrong to search me the exact same way if that bag had been empty." Reese was quiet a long moment. Then he nodded, slow, like a man finally hearing something all the way through instead of just waiting for his turn to speak. "You're right," he said. "That's the part I have to sit with." The department held a small ceremony the following month, not for show, but because Captain Vance insisted it mattered to do it properly. She presented Marcus with a formal letter of apology and, at Marcus's own quiet request, invited the local school to attend, so the children could see what accountability actually looked like when it was done right. Alea sat in the front row in her yellow dress, the very same one from the photograph that had fallen face down onto Marcus's floor mat that evening on Route 9. She watched her father shake the captain's hand, watched him nod once calm, the way he always was. She did not know all the details yet. She only knew her father had done something brave a long time ago, and that people were finally saying so out loud. The lesson of this story is a simple one, though it took a badge, a duffel bag, and a Pentagon identification card for one man to finally hear it clearly. Respect should never depend on what is hidden in someone's bag, their record, or their past. It should be given first, plainly, to every person standing quietly on the side of the road, with their hands raised and nothing to prove. Marcus Bell did not need a trident pin to deserve decency. He needed it, sadly, to receive it. That is the wrong this story asks you to carry home and correct in your own life, long before the badge, the record, or the reveal ever has to speak for someone else. This story is for every quiet man who has had to prove himself twice as hard just to be seen once. The sky over Route 9 turned soft and gray that evening, rain finally falling light and slow, washing the dust off an old gray truck parked safe in its own driveway, a little girl in a yellow dress laughing somewhere close by, and a father home at last, exactly where he had always belonged.